Hi everybody, this is Osprey from mychartcoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at stocks that trade options. And so these are all option trades that we've been discussing in our chat. And so first up I'm going to take a look at Under Armour here. This is UAA, and so today it was a very nice move. The big follow through today through it pushed through that 200-day simple moving average. You can see down here 17, this red line was the big level to break. And so it did break that intraday, and it was able to push much higher. It ran all the way up to 18. And so at 18, it was hitting the September high close resistance level. It hit that level and pulled back. But it did close above the October high close. And so that's that 1750 level. So going forward for tomorrow, those are the two big levels in the chart right now. If it breaks above 18, then you're looking at a potential run up to 1933. That's the 300-day simple moving average. If it fails to break 18 and 1750 support breaks, then you're looking at a drop down to the 200-day simple moving average at 1703. That is the big level to turn into support. That's the big level to hold. If candles stay above that level, it will be bullish. If it pulls below and closes below the 200-day simple moving average, that would signal consolidation, and then you can see a drop down to this EMA4 down here at 16 to test the January high close level, before yesterday's big move. Yes, because there was a big breakout above 16 yesterday. So going forward, 18, big level to break, 1750, the big level to hold. If you take a look up here at RSI, you can see RSI closed today at 73.76. It hit 70 here in back here in December, and then if you look back here in this is June, it got above 70. And if you notice back in June, this signaled the top. This is where the RSI hit 70, above 70. And then if you look down here, this also signaled the top in December when RSI got to this level. So the last two times that RSI got to this level in recent times, it signaled a temporary top. And the same thing can be said with Fasto. You can see Fasto here is at 94. It's starting to hook. If you look at each one of these spikes and you go down on the chart, I circled where each one of the Fasto spikes were above 80, and notice how each time a red candle followed. So each time it gets above 80, a red candle follows. So either this is going to be a major bullish change in trend, and UAA can push higher in the overbought power zone on RSI and Fasto and continue the uptrend, or it's going to repeat history and this will signal a temporary top. Now, if you look out over a longer time period, check out this chart here. This goes all the way back to December 2015. So this is a multi-year daily chart, and I'm showing you this so you can see how many times RSI has been at this level. And notice that the RSI back in June of 2017 was the last time that it got above 70. You have to go off this chart to find the last time RSI was hitting this level. If you look down here, it was at this level in July of 2016, and that signaled the top as well. I mean, the question is, were the earnings good enough for this for UAA to break out and head to new levels with the 68 PE? And so it seems a little frothy here. If you look here at plus DI, that's another thing to look at on ADX. You can see how it spiked up. If you look back here at ADX here with plus DI minus DI, you can see the green line has a parabolic spike. When you get a super vertical spike like that, it signals the move is unsustainable. And notice it's hitting the previous peak from this big drop here. Okay, when there was the big gap down, that's when you had the minus DI spike, and so now you have the inverse of that. There's a big spike on plus DI. If you look down here at minus DI, you can see that when it hits these levels, this is where it tends to bottom. So on top out. And so previous occasions when minus DI has hit this level, notice how this was lining up with recent tops. And so yeah, it could drop a little lower down to 15 on minus DI, but that would signal that it's very, very overbought. I'm using this as a contrarian indicator, signaling that the chart is actually frothy and overbought. You know, that's what and so if you look out over here, you can see that plus DI, the green line, hasn't been above this level in years. And so this is the highest level in years. And notice how each one of these big vertical spikes, when plus DI gets super vertical like that, they're followed by declines. You always get a decline when you get a super vertical spike like that. That's usually how it plays out. It can't keep going in a straight line for an extended period of time. Look what happened to you know, VIX and how it shot up, and you know, and then now it's pulling back. That's how it works. If you look down here at minus DI, you can see when it hits this this level, you know, it starts getting down here to 16 to 15. This is where it bottoms out historically. You know, this is where minus DI bottoms out and where the stock price tops out. And so you can see here, this is the first close above that red line, the 200-day simple moving average, since way back here in 2016. So that is the thing. I mean, this could be a fundamental change for the company. You know, like this could be the start of a big new uptrend. And in my opinion, it all comes down to this red line. You know, above 17 signals that yes, this has some upside potential and it could run up to 19. Failed to hold 17, and that signals that this has been a temporary top at 18 and it could pull back into the bands. Okay, so keep an eye on that. If you look here at the 15-minute chart, you can see it had a really nice move today. It had the gap down open at the open, and then it just went completely nuts the entire day, just straight up. Notice how all the closes were above the pink line, you know, closed right at it here. Every time it got down to EMA 4, they were buying. Every time they bought so hard today. You know, there was major call buying today. There were over you know, 10,000 contracts. It was heavy volume. Yeah, you've got bulls are super buying it up today. So we'll see if the market makers are gonna make them pay and pull this back. Notice that it did pull back into the close, and the big thing is the middle Bollinger Band here at 1765. That's the big level to break or hold. If that level breaks, then you're looking at a potential drop down to 17. This green line is going to be the big level. If it drops below 1765, it has to hold a 17. You know, if 17 breaks that 50 simple moving average, that's when you could get the big drop down to the 100 simple moving average, which is currently down at 15. And then the big level to break to the upside is the high close here at 230, and basically it's that 18 resistance level. Above 18 would be very bullish for UAA. One more chart to show you, and because we like to use multiple time frames, that's where you can really get you know, where you can you know, really see what's going on and find key resistance and support levels. And so you can see here it is really heating up on the weekly chart with the move above 50 on RSI. And notice that previous moves above 50 have signaled a top. It has a difficult time staying above 50. Notice that you've got Fasto at 94.99. I mean, look at the previous peaks. It has a very difficult time staying above 80 on Fasto. Okay, so the big technical development this week, it did run up to that 50-day week moving average, and it actually closed above today. And so that was a very bullish close, so congrats to the bulls here. You know, it did have the PSAR bull flip this week. Check it out back here in 2016 when it hit the 50-week moving average. It failed to close above, and so this week's candle will not set until the closing bell on Friday. And so a close above that 50-week moving average, that's going to signal more upside potential, and that would be very, very bullish. If it pulls back below after breaking interweek, that could signal that it's not ready to go, and you could have a similar candles like this where it's followed by a red candle and then pull back to retest that middle Bollinger Band down at 15. That's the downside risk, is that if 17 support doesn't hold, this is currently at 1748, so we'll call it 1750. If that doesn't hold, then it could pull back to 15. Okay, so let's change it up a little bit. Let's look at NVDA. Okay, so I alerted this one last night. Yeah, posted alerts in our chat that this was setting up for a good options call option trade, And you know, the what was looking interesting was yesterday's candle hitting this middle Bollinger Band, and so all it needed to do was break above, and that was going to be the bull signal, and that did happen today, and it broke above in a very strong way. So this was a huge move for NVDA. Congrats everyone. It's hitting the key. You know, the next key level to break is gonna be 247.50 zone. You know, if it can get above 247.50, that's going to be a signal that wants to head higher. It could work its way back up to that level. The big level to hold is 233.59. That middle Bollinger Band, this dotted purple line. As long as it stays above, that will signal a new uptrend should begin. Notice it broke below the middle Bollinger Band, and now it's back above. You know, it closed right at that level on this black candle. So if it can turn it into support, that means that the bullish uptrend should continue here. Notice there was the bullish crossover on MACD 8, 13, and 5, and a PSR bull flip last week. And then the nice thing too is RSI is at 58. So there's a lot of room to run here until overbought levels. And then unlike UAA, notice how NVDA is able to head higher above 80 on Fasto. You know, you look at UAA, and then notice how it spikes and pulls back. You know, it has a hard time, you know, staying above that level. And then you look at a stock like NVDA, and it can have a sustained run. This is when, and this is what you want to look for. You want to look back and see what is the historic trend of that particular stock. And what happens is history tends to repeat. And so if a stock has a history of being able to head higher above 80 on Fasto and above 70 on RSI, there's a chance that it can do it again. And now if a stock has a multi-year history of always failing to head higher when it breaks those levels, that's a good indication that it's hitting a temporary top. Okay, so yeah, NVDA, nice move. Okay, notice how it channeled out here on the 15-minute chart. It did have that nice volume spike into the close. Basically, it has to break above this high close here at 2 o'clock. If it can break this, what I was saying before, 242.50, that signals more upside. Now it has to hold the middle Bollinger Band at 240.45. We'll call it 240.50 to make it easy. So below 240.50 signals downside risk. Above 242.50 signals it's ready to head higher. Okay, let's look at Snap. SNAP, big bounce today. All right, so this is a really nice bounce for Snap. It looks like, you know, it had, you know, yeah, just a very nice white candle here. You know, I don't know what this open white red candle here, if that would be considered the bullish engulfing, but this is engulfing the previous red candle. But it is it closed. The reason why this candle is not solid red like the previous candles is because yesterday's close was above the open, and that was your clue that it was heating up, and it was bouncing off of EMA4. It was holding that key support level after these candles here formed above the upper Bollinger Band, and the candles just worked back into the bands, and they held the first key support level, which is EMA4. That's the big level to hold, and they're bouncing right off of it. That's a great technical move here. And so what you want to see now is this closing price on the 7th break, 20.75. So it should be able to retrace back up to that level, and then above 20.75 would signal it wants to head higher. If it fails to break that level, it could signal a temporary top. Going forward, you know, if you're writing this more for a swing trade, you know, EMA4 at 18.89 is the big level to hold. Once it closes below that level, that's when you're going to get some consolidation. As long as that level is holding, the chart is super strong, and the signal is to keep riding. Okay, look at the 15-minute chart. This is a 3-day 15-minute chart, and you can see it had this sideways action here. And then what was the signal that this was finally ready to head higher? And in my opinion, it was this candle right here at 12:30. It was the close above the gold line. Notice how all these candles for the last couple days were below the gold line. You know, these candles were above, but notice how the 100 simple moving average turned into resistance, and so the candles were below, and then once it finally closed above today at 12:30, that was your signal. It was finally ready to break out higher, and that signaled the big run. The chart was heating up today. You know, when it got back above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50 simple moving average, this is what we look for to signal that the 15-minute chart is heating up, and then it has to break the next resistance level. It pulled back down. It had the little shakeout, and you know, shook some people out here. here, but once it got back above that 50 simple moving average in the middle Bollinger Band, it signaled that it was definitely still in play. And then this candle right here, if you were holding out here and you didn't know, I don't know if I'm going to jump in or not, I want to make sure the coast is clear. This was the candle that signaled the ride, and then notice EMA's 4 and 8 support held into the close. Okay, so the big level to break is 1970. You want to see this 1950 level hold. If that EMA 8 breaks, since it was the big support level today, that would be a bearish change in trend, just signaling possible consolidation. And then you could see a pullback down to 1922, that middle Bollinger Band. As long as the middle Bollinger Band's holding, the chart is strong and the uptrend should continue. Okay, let's look at MNKD. Okay, nice move today. Closed up 6%. It's still only at 62 on RSI, so it still has room to run until that 70 overbought level. And Fasto is only at 66. So these two indicators are telling you that there's still more upside potential, and that you could stick with this trade. It's tough to have faith in a multi-day mankind run. I mean, it is on a 4-day run right now, and so that being said, it wouldn't be surprising if it stalled out tomorrow. You have Friday expiration coming up, and you know how they love to kill that DK on those. How the DK just gets really building on the call options, and so it just seems like the market makers these days just love to crush everyone. And so yeah, you could see them trying to pull it back. So then yeah, they could wipe out those. You never know though, it could get pushing higher. And so it's all going to come down to this 100-day simple moving average at 309. That's the gold line. If that line can hold, then that's going to signal more upside potential. And then what you're looking for is a break above the open here, this 355 to 360 resistance zone, and then the big level is 380. That's the next target here, is 380. That's the next high close level. Notice the upper Bollinger Band is hooking up. It is signaling that it wants to head higher. The upper wick today shows profit taking. People did lock in gains today. You can see here into the close. It had the 4 or 3 red candles in a row, and it did break that middle Bollinger Band support. So there was a lot of profit taking today into the close. It was very strong today. Notice how it's been strong for multiple days. Ever since back here on the 9th. When it got above the middle Bollinger Band and the 150 and 200 simple moving average, it signaled it was heating up. And then once it got above the next day on the 12th, the next trading day, when it got above the 300 simple moving average, that signal was really going. And then notice how it's been in this nice channel, this uptrending channel. But right now it's hitting the bottom of the channel. Notice how this has been support. Okay, so if it breaks below the bottom of that, then you're going to look at this 50 simple moving average at 311. It has to hold this green line here. That's the other key support level in the channel from ascending support. And so it needs to hold this 311 support level. If it does dip to that level, if it breaks below, then you could see it dropping back to 290, breaking below $3. To the upside, what it needs to do is break above 340. Okay, so what we like to do is find the high close resistance level. And so today, it was really cooking into the close, and the 3 o'clock closing price was the high close level on this chart. That's at about 337 or so is the big level to break. And so yeah, if you can see it close above that level, that's going to signal it wants to head higher. If it drops down below 311, that's going to signal downside risk. And one more to leave you with is Kodak. Okay, Eastman Kodak, the KODK, and yeah, you can see here that yeah, it's got it says it doesn't trade options here, but they do trade options. And you can see here it's dropping down, and it has a close today above EMA 4, and so that was a nice close back above that level. It's been trying to turn that into support, and it's been holding that 50-day simple moving average at 580. The big level to break is EMA 8 at 613. It's hitting that level right now. It broke that level intraday, but it pulled back. It needs to close above that level. Close above EMA 8 would be a big symbol that the chart is really heating up, and then you're looking at EMA 13 at 653 is the next level to break. So yeah, so keep an eye on Kodak. We're going to see here if it can hold on to support and follow through. It needs to hold that 560 support level. It needs to stay above the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages to remain in play. If it drops below and they turn into resistance, then it could really pull back. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis and how to use this information for trading, please come check us out at our chat. I'll post the link below the video. Okay, thank you.